It's senior day here on the 40 acres. 21 seniors will wear the burnt orange for the final time at home. And one of them could reach another milestone tonight. Colt McCoy could become the winningest starting quarterback in the history of NCAA football. He's already the first starting quarterback to record 4 10-win seasons in a career. But he isn't big on individual achievements. A small-town boy from Tuscola, Texas. Population 714. And that, by the way, is just 22 miles from Abilene. West Texas has lots of ranches, lots of horses. Many of those small-town ranchers keep a close eye on their colts. And this colt is named McCoy. Welcome to Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines. Tonight, we're in Austin, Texas, as the Kansas Jayhawks take on the Texas Longhorns at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium. Hi, everybody. Ron Franklin along with Ed Cunningham, and welcome to the state capital of the great state of Texas. For Colt McCoy, huge evening. But not only records, but the fact that it's the last time he will wear this burnt orange here at home.
Yeah, and they've tried not to talk about the records that are out there for Colt, but it's really hard not to when you look at the list of people that Colt McCoy has passed up as a starting quarterback in college football early in the season. Passed up Peyton Manning, and tonight could pass up David Green of Georgia. And we talked about senior night with Colt and asked him how he was going to control all of the emotions that may come into an evening like tonight.
It's tough, to know that this is going to be your last game in Darrell K. Royal. That's pretty emotional. But at the same time, do my best, and our seniors are going to do the best we can tonight to just go out there and play. We know we have a ton of goals still in front of us to accomplish.
Oh, the interesting thing is, a lot of people talk about the Texas offense and about Colt McCoy. But the fact of the matter is the defense is ranked #1 in the nation.
And it's played lights out, especially down the stretch here. And one guy that jumps off when you look at the tape is Lamar Houston, a young man who came here as a defensive end, then got switched down to the inside by Will Muschamp when he first got here as a defensive coordinator. And this guy has put himself in position to be a first-day draft pick in the NFL this spring. And for the Kansas Jayhawks, it has been a very, very tumultuous and stormy week, particularly for the head coach, Mark Mangino. It has to have been a distraction. Yeah, they started an internal investigation of how Mangino has been handling his players over the last several years. And one guy stood up, Todd Reese, the senior quarterback, and said, we've got a lot of things that we have to correct here. We're on a 5-game losing streak. Senior quarterback has not played great down the stretch here, but a big night for Todd. He is from right here in Austin, the first time he will have ever played here at Texas.
Well, don't go away. Kickoff is not far away, and as you can see, the guys are in the locker room and putting on the finishing touches. We'll be back with more from Austin right after this. The senior class.
Also tonight marks the final home game for a number of other seniors who have dedicated hours of preparation during their years as students at UT. As a tribute to the student athletes, support staff members, spirit group participants, and all who have made the game day experience here at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium at Joe Jamail Field. We ask you to stand for a special recognition to all of our associates of the athletes of Texas.
So the Eyes of Texas has just been played by the Longhorn marching band. As you can see up the tunnel, the Longhorns have moved down along with head coach Mack Brown and very shortly will make their appearance. Very special night for those 21 young men who will play their last home game here at DKR Memorial Stadium. Flag comes first, and here come the Longhorns. This has been the Nissan pregame shift. We'll be back with the opening kickoff after this. Of course, the stadium is named after Coach Royal, and Joe Jamail, the field is named after him, famous attorney from down in Houston, Texas. Let's go down to Shelley Smith, who was with us tonight. And Shelley, a lot to talk about on the Kansas front.
Yes, the Kansas Athletic Department confirmed this week that it is investigating allegations that Mark Mangino mistreated his players. This comes after one player told the athletic department that he got poked in the chest and was berated by Mangino. Several former players came out this week and said they were verbally and emotionally abused by Mangino. Now, Mangino denies any wrongdoing. He says the allegations either are embellished or are untrue. And the chancellor of the school came out yesterday and said to let this process play itself out before you make any kind of a determination as to who's right and who's wrong here. But joining me now is Coach Mangino. Mark, this has been a turbulent week for you. How have you kept your team focused on winning this game?
Oh, well, we have so much to play for. You know, we've won 2 consecutive bowl games. Never's been done in Kansas history. We're trying to get bowl eligible because it'll be unprecedented in KU football history. So that's our focus. It's easy to be focused.
Your quarterback grew up 5 minutes from here. He's been a senior leader for you all year long. What do you need from him tonight?
Well, I'm happy for him. You know, he's a local boy, goes away to college, does good, gets a chance to come back and play in his hometown. Now, these Longhorn fans are rooting for the Longhorns, but there's a few up there pulling for Todd Reesing.
Thanks, Mark. Back to you guys.
Okay, Shelley, thanks so very much. Great job down there. No, and I'll tell you, Mark is exactly right. There are a lot of people, some of whom are wearing burnt orange because their youngsters have gone to Lake Travis High School as well, and they're Reesing fans, and for good reason. Justin Tucker prepares to kick it off for the Longhorns. And we are underway. High spinner, and going to be returnable from the 5-yard line. This is Stuckey. And Stuckey will make it to the 20-yard line and now fights his way out to around the 23. So let's talk more about Todd Reesing and his profile. Ed?
Had a difficult stretch the last 5 ball games. A lot of turnovers. Tried to do a little too much, and the coaches have talked to him about just take the single, take the double. Everything doesn't have to be a home run. Last week played much better against Nebraska, and of course that was because this reshuffled offensive line played really well last week. This is a key against this very good Texas front tonight.
Reesing from the shotgun, and it's Jake Sharp who joins him in the backfield. Quick pass in the flat. Hit made behind the line of scrimmage. Kerry Meyer makes the catch, and immediately the defense is right there, led by Earl Thomas. Impact players for the Longhorns.
Tobin O'Connor, is a true freshman, 235-pounder. They'll pound him. Kerry Meyer, inside receiver, was a former quarterback, very good in space. Earl Thomas will be guarding him all night. And Holden Tharp, a true freshman linebacker, 13 tackles last week against Nebraska.
Second down, let's call it 12. Reesing, option, open field, and the pitch, and Sharp will be stopped after a gain of about 5. It's Roderick McCoy, the middle linebacker for the Longhorns, comes over to make the hit on Jake. Jake, a senior out of Salina, Kansas, 3-time letterman, 5'10", 195 pounds. So now a third down, and then the line to make is out at the 33.
And you're already starting to see the speed that Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator from Kansas, was so worried about.
Yes.
Those were 2 plays that against another defense may have gone for 6 or 7 yards. Instead, they just go for a couple.
Reesing on third down. Pressure up the middle. Steps up. Ball delivered. Got Meyer complete at the 32-yard line. In fact, they may say the 33. He is very, very close to the first down. Earl Thomas defensively for the Longhorns.
And right away you see this reshuffled offensive line for Kansas doing a much better job than they had during this current 5-game losing streak. There's Jeremiah Hatch there at center, Brad Thorson over at right tackle, and Jeff Spike 74 at right guard. Spikes had been at right tackle, was struggling. They benched him against Kansas State. They moved him inside last week against Ndamukong Suh, and he played great.
He really did. Played lights out. So they moved the sticks. Important early in this ball game not to let Texas get ahead of steam defensively. Here's Sharp. Nice and longest gain of the night as he takes it to the 41. Gideon defensively. Well, Ed, let's talk about the game plan for KU against this Longhorn defense.
Well, Todd Reesing had been battling a pulled groin. He looked great last week against Nebraska when he ran it, so get him involved. Poundo Perham, the big guy inside. We're already seeing Jake Sharp getting outside, so it'll be an inside-outside plan. And for Texas, keep Desmond Briscoe, the top receiver. He's an NFL-type guy. You've got to keep him in front of you because he will beat you deep, especially if Kansas gets the running game going.
Texas showing blitz. And now here they come up the middle, and the ball is thrown short. Intended there for Ingram.
And you've got to think, I like early the things that they're doing for Reesing. That's really only the second kind of in-the-pocket pass, run a little option. You've got to think this man's motor's running pretty high. First time in his career as a senior that he's got to play in his hometown. So that ball, not surprisingly, came out a little awkward.
Todd's High School, Lake Travis High School, won their game this weekend in the playoffs. They have won 42 straight as he hands the ball to O'Purum. And O'Purum is going to have a first down plus about 10 yards. Finally stopped by Earl Thomas. And probably the defensive coordinator would say after that 12-yard gain, Earl Thomas has 3 tackles, and that's way too many for somebody in the secondary.
Yeah, you'd want Lamar Houston making that tackle, maybe muffle Royal middle backer, but lost contain on the end there.
1st and 10 from the Longhorn 46-yard line. Reesing from the shotgun again to the open side of the field, going to keep it, breaks through and takes it down to the 40-yard line. One of the things that we should mention about Todd as well, he not only has gotten it done on the field of play, he also is a finalist for the Campbell Award. That's formerly the Dratty Award, and that in academics is the Heisman Trophy of academia.
And boy, did he handle everything with the Mangino situation this week really well. A tough situation for anybody, but he went into the press conference on Tuesday and said, I don't want to talk about it. It's about Texas. He told everybody on the team, let's not talk about it and focus on Texas. Really showed some great leadership this week in that locker room.
8th play of the drive. It all started back at the 23. O'Purum, and boy, he gets whacked at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd down. That's Sergio Kendall, one of the 21 seniors playing here tonight. And they have given about a half-yard gain, so now 3rd down, and shaken up on the play, I think. Yep, that's O'Purum. Boy, he really took a shot from Kendall coming off the wing.
You know, he injured his hip last week. Unblocked. Kendall on the end here is going to use some of that great speed to close down, but O'Purum injured his hip last week against Nebraska, and it looks like that may be the same thing that happened to him there.
So while the injury, let's take a timeout. No score, Kansas and Texas. East High School, and I think you could tell by his lack of mobility, there are some serious questions as to whether he'll be able to come back tonight. 3rd down, line to make is the Texas 36. Pressure from the backside. Got it. Ball is tipped and almost intercepted for the Longhorns. It'll be 4th down, and it was Earl Thomas along with Keenan Robinson. Earl Thomas leads the team in interceptions with 6.
Inside receiver Meyer, really good. You know, they may have looked at Keenan Robinson for holding there, but the ball hadn't been thrown yet. Now Kansas going for it on 4th. I think the right decision. Now if you have to know Kerry Meyer to the right in the slot is the guy that they'll look at here. Earl Thomas coming over to cover him.
4th down, and again, line to make, the 36 of Texas. No score, 10:38 to play, opening quarter. And now Reesing says either he's confused or did not like what they were sending from the sideline, so he calls a timeout. We'll take it with him. No score. KU and Texas.
Night football on ABC. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Go to southwest.com. Grab your bag. It's on. Cadillac. From our family to yours. Season's best from Cadillac. And Bud Light. With the just right taste that's not too heavy, not too light. The difference is drinkability.
Well, this is prior to the ball game. Colt McCoy, one of the 21 seniors honored here tonight. His father, Brad, and his mom. His father, of course, is a head coach. First guy that you saw coming down the tunnel was Jordan Shipley. And, of course, they are roommates. Their dads were roommates, and both of their dads are high school football coaches. Fourth down. 36, the line to make. Pressure. Going to run up into the middle. Now going to be hit. Ball is loose. Eddie Jones makes the tackle. And fourth down is forbidden.
Well, this is the package that Will Muschamp calls the rabbit. You get your 4 best pass rushers in there, and the pocket just absolutely got collapsed by Eddie Jones, and Reesing came up, and good job. You hear all the time defensive line stay in your lane. Those defensive tackles did not get pushed wide, so when Reesing stepped up, there was nowhere to go. I still like the call by Kansas, though, because if you punt that and it goes in the end zone, you only gain about 18 yards of field position.
Colt McCoy for the first time on offense tonight, and movement. Obviously, Kansas thought that somebody had moved as Blakesley came across and hit the Texas offensive lineman.
Ball start. Offense, number 64, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So while they mark it off, let's take a look at our quarterback profile.
Well, he holds 45 Texas quarterback records, does Daniel Colt McCoy. But one of the most impressive statistics, I think, is he's over 70% completion percentage for his career. Number 1 all-time in NCAA college football. If he finishes above 70, he'll have the record all-time.
Throws his first pass, has it complete. Short pass, good for about 6 yards to Jordan Shipley. And as some people say, particularly the coaching staff, that these guys have a built-in radar, and there is a perception between the two that one knows where the other's going to go.
They started playing catch when they were 8 years old. They'd go back to Abilene Christian, where their fathers played together, and they throw the ball around and dreaming of playing at Abilene Christian. Well, they went 1 notch up from there, but still playing together.
John Childs in the ballgame at wide receiver, former backup quarterback, as we look at the impact players for the Horns.
Marquise Goodwin finding his way as a receiver, a world-class track athlete, nearly 27 feet in the long jump. Cody Johnson, the 4th starting running back last week against Baylor, over 100 yards. And Sergio Kendall, we already saw on that play with O'Perham getting hurt, unfortunately, the speed he brings off the edge.
Trey Newton checks into the ballgame at tailback. Had an outstanding game against Baylor. In fact, had a distance touchdown. McCoy to throw, and this one a little bit of a miscommunication, I would assume, because John Childs was not 5 yards from that ball, and McCoy is normally not that far off.
Well, I think what Childs went to do, he went to run that deep corner route, and the cornerback on that side, Chris Harris, did a nice job of making contact with him. And there's a teaching moment. You know, we were talking to Colt yesterday. All of these young receivers, Childs, you mentioned, was a former quarterback. And he said he has to do more teaching this year than he's ever had to do, and he feels like he's grown from that process.
Well, he learned well. His father, Brad, has been a coach for a very long time. John Gold in the ball game to kick for Texas. Wobbly spiral, going to be caught by Stuckey of Patterson. Patterson breaks it open. 40, 45, and finally knocked out of bounds at around midfield. Matt Weiner in New York, let's check with you. Very much, we have no score, but on a really nice return by the Jayhawks, they have the ball at great field position at the 50. Second possession for them of the evening. Racing. Got a man. Overthrows Kerry Meyer by a pretty good distance. Covering out there on the play was Curtis Brown.
And we saw the update on the Nebraska-Kansas State game. Of course, that one will decide who plays in the Big 12 championship from the north. If Texas wins tonight, because Oklahoma State won against Colorado on Thursday night, but if Texas wins tonight, they will represent the South in the Big 12 championship.
Second down at 10. Reesing now 2 of 5 on the evening, and he has missed his last 3. Crowd asking that #1 ranked defense to step up. And on the running play, they do. Maybe a gain of 2 yards on the play. ESPN Monday Night Football continues. Third down. Line to make the 40 of Texas. Blitz coming off the near side, and Reesing hit and knocked down for about, wow, that's almost a 12-yard loss. And the second time as Shockey Brown picks up the blitz off the corner and picks up the sack.
Well, watch Shockey Brown. He's lined up inside. What a great design by Will Muschamp. He's lined up on the slot. They ran a linebacker and defensive end stunt, and then Shockey Brown chased it up inside. Muschamp is so good at designing those different types of blitzes for the game.
This kick is partly blocked. It is now taken a big KU bounce, but Texas got a piece of it, and of course they have been extremely successful in blocking kicks. Clark Ford, a backup defensive back, is the man who got a hand on us. Take another look at it, Ed. So as we go to break, you see him coming after the ball. He hit it, got a piece of it, but not all of it. We'll be right back.
Well, we'll give you an inside look at something fun after Thursday's practice. Coach Brown had the senior offensive lineman do a shoot-off against the senior defensive lineman. And this is Ben Alexander, 6 feet, 305 pounds. Not exactly a power forward, but he admitted those were the most shots he had ever made in his life to win for the senior defensive line.
There's Big Ben right there.
And of course, everybody was saying, well, he's from the Carolinas, so they cheated because, of course, of all the great basketball there. But it was just such a nice moment for those seniors to have a little send-off at the end of practice. It was fun when they rolled those out. Everybody in practice started turning around going, what are those hoops for out here?
Did Rick Barnes send those over here? Well, the first offensive series, it was 3 and out for the Longhorns. Let's see what they can amend on this one. On the 24, middle screen. Good one, hang on. World class is the speed, and it's a good thing that he got ripped from behind by Justin Thornton, because if he was not, he was going to take it to the house for 76 yards. 34 on this game.
And how many times did we see this in Thursday's practice? The outside receiver, let's watch the block. Shipley does a good job on the outside, but you talked about that world-class speed. He 26 feet 10 inches was his best long jump as a senior last year in high school. That was long enough that would have won the Big 12 had he been in the conference last year.
And that was in Texas 5A. Going to be good for about 3 yards as Malcolm Williams makes his first appearance as far as making a catch tonight. You look at head coach Mac Brown, 12th season here in Austin. 125 and 26 his numbers.
It's interesting when you asked him about Goodwin whether he was going to do spring ball or track. He didn't hesitate. He said that young man has too much talent. He needs to go do track. He might have a real bright future there.
Well, he said, you know, when we made the agreement, he said that's what we wanted him to do. First time we've seen a running play tonight. A big Cody Johnson, a sophomore out of Waller, Texas, is the ball carrier, and a nice job of the Kansas defense. This is going to bring up again 3rd down and long for Texas. Ed, your game plan for Texas. Sorry, we didn't get this in.
Well, it was going too fast. Texas
was 3 and out.
Yeah, happy with these 4-yard runs. Of course, that wasn't one, but just pound away, and you'll get some of those wide receiver screens. Of course, we've already seen one. And for Kansas defensively, 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2. I think they need to get some negative runs for Texas.
McCoy, near sideline, got a man open. Kirkendall at the 10, at the 5, touchdown, Texas. So Kirkendall, 41 yards for the touchdown. Hunter Lawrence to attempt the extra point out of the hold of Jordan Shipley. And the kick is up, and he's got it. So as we go to break, 6:02 left in this opening quarter, and here's another look at Kirkendall, a junior out of Round Rock, Texas, which is a suburb of right here in Austin. You can see he got behind both defenders and took it for the count. We'll be right back.
Oh, while wearing full.
So we're back, and you see Colt McCoy coming immediately to the sideline and putting on the headsets, talking, I'm sure, with Greg Davis, who is upstairs, the offensive coordinator. Justin Tucker prepares to kick it off. Justin, an interesting story. His grandfather was a linebacker at the University of Alabama. And this one is going to come down at the 1-yard line. Stuckey tripped up as he crosses the 20.
Oh, take a look at what is the all-22 showing all the players. Here's your matchup right here. And watch Kirkendall really sell the hitch as he comes off the line, lowers his center of gravity like he's going to stop, a little head and shoulder shake, and goes right by Chris Harris. That was a wonderful route, and the safety had gotten pulled down because of an inside route, so he's not over the top. And just a young man in Kirkendall who had some struggles earlier in the season. They moved him in the slot. He just wasn't getting it. They moved him back outside, and he's been playing lights out ever since.
3 wide receivers to the left. You can see on the bottom of your screen. It's Kerry Meyer in motion. Greasy. Good protection. Ball is caught right over the middle. It's Jonathan Wilson. He is a junior out of Houston. Played at Klein Forest High School in the greater Houston area.
And he's a young man that Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator, very quickly when we went to talk to him about last week's game against Nebraska, said he played really well, although not a lot of catches, blocked well on the edge, helped us in the screen game, so not surprising to go in him a little bit.
Racing, got his pass to Meyer. That's going to be enough for the first down. As KU that time got the snap off quickly. Aaron Williams made the stop for the Horns, but got the quick snap, got the play in motion, and Meyer is the guy they like to go to when they need something. 3rd down, 4th down, whatever.
And it looks like Kansas is going to speed it up a little bit here. I like this choice.
Ball almost tipped. It goes to Meyer, and he is going to be denied the 40-yard line as Earl Thomas is there to make the hit. And I think for Earl, I know that's 3. It might even be 4 tackles for him in this early going.
Well, this is one of the finest in the country defensively. And, of course, coming into the season, everybody was saying you lost Brian Arakpo, you lost Roy Miller. How good is this defensive line going to be? And we mentioned Lamar Houston. He's playing wonderfully.
Racing. Ball is tipped, and that's Blake Gideon, who went parallel to the ground, just laid out, and I think got a hand on it.
And remember, this defensive secondary last year was the question mark for Will Muschamp in his first year. Almost all freshmen back there. Gideon now a true sophomore. But they grew so much through the year, and he said, I knew we had athletic, fast guys. Now the game slowed down. I can give them more to do, and they're playing so well.
3rd down. Ed, the line to make, is out to the 45-yard line. Racing. Quick pass out to Meyer. Got it. And on the hit, he is knocked out of bounds 2 yards short of the first down. And again, it is Earl Thomas.
This young man, when you start talking to Will Muschamp, you can just see the excitement raise in what he does. Watch Earl Thomas right here fight through a block by McDougald. And Wilson just couldn't get there. And they talk about his work ethic, how much he studies films. That is a young player understanding angles. He knew where the ball was going.
Speed is incredible. He already has, we have him unofficially for 5 tackles in this game. Good coverage kick, very high, not tremendously long, but fair catch is made by Jordan Shipley. Well, Dallas fans, there's a new place to go to get the latest on the team that you care the most about. Well, we've been talking about Earl Thomas so much, and while they're still attending to the injury, let's take a look at Earl Thomas and the 6 interceptions he has this year.
Well, when you talk about productivity of a player, obviously he's got immense physical skills, great closing speed. Of course, this one he took to the house, and this was the interception to seal the win against Oklahoma. This one, of course, he takes to the house against Oklahoma State, but he's got the athletic ability, obviously. But it's his work ethic, studying the game. He's the last one off the practice field. They sometimes have to tell him in games that have been out of hands, you can't go back in the game, Earl. You have to stay on with us.
Now, Lubbock Smith, as you can see, being helped off the field. We'll try to find out a little bit more on him, but didn't look real good. So Texas leading 7-0. And the Longhorns back on offense. This is the third offensive series for them tonight. Empty backfield, and McCoy, great protection. Drag route right over the middle, got it complete, and that is Kirkendall again, the young man who caught the 41-yard touchdown just a moment ago. And True Dudley, the middle linebacker, a junior out of College Station, who plays for KU, was the man who made the stop.
Well, that completion percentage was a little down earlier in the year when they had to mix and match some people. Of course, Brandon Collins, who Colt was really going to rely on, was academically ineligible, and they had to move some people around. They finally found the matches they wanted.
But this pass to Shipley, turns it instead of outside, turned it inside, and picked up the first down, plus 9 yards. Oyebule made the tackle for the Jayhawks. It's good for 14 yards.
It was interesting talking to Clint Bowen, the defensive coordinator for Kansas, when we asked him about Shipley. He said, well, we have Kerry Meyer, who is a very good receiver like Shipley, runs great routes, understands spacing, but he said the difference is Shipley just has that extra step, a little more speed than our Meyer.
McCoy just beyond the outstretched arms of Marquise Goodwin. And I think not only in this game tonight, but you will continue to see the Longhorns take a bigger piece of the pie as far as offensive time, and that is trying to go vertical and trying to go long and take their shots.
Greg Davis was very honest when we met with him yesterday about the struggles earlier in the year. I'd mentioned Brandon Collins was ruled academically ineligible at the beginning of the season. They took Shipley and moved him to the slot for a little while. They moved Kirkendall. Didn't know what to do with him, and it just took a while to find the people they wanted.
Cody Johnson's going to take it for a couple. This is going to be a third down and long for the Longhorns. Jamal Green was there to trip him up. Look at Greg Davis, the man second from the right. 12th season as the offensive coordinator here on the 40 acres, coming in with Mac Brown.
I liked his advice to Colt McCoy about senior night. He said, I didn't want to talk about it too much, but he said, enjoy it, but understand there's a whole lot more work to be done.
That's right. Yeah, they have talked to the players a lot about focus and each game one at a time. Line to make is the 49. Pass thrown, and that's where it's caught. Going to be enough for the first down, and again it is Jordan Shipley. Chris Harris had the cover for the Jayhawks.
Shipley at the top of your screen. And you have to give him that cushion. You'd want,
that's right.
Typically you'd want Harris to be a little tighter than that. He didn't have safety help. And Bevo enjoying what he's seen so far. It took him a little while to get going, but he'll continue to chew his cud.
Man, maybe that wake-up call came a little bit later than 7-12. Shipley now 3 catches for 32 yards. Blitz coming off the corner. McCoy having to hurry to get out of harm's way. Lost the football. It is loose, and well, not going to say. It is Kansas football. Kansas football at the 47-yard line.
And that looked to me like a fumble. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a review. But let's see. If you see his palm, it's a fumble. Yeah, that's a fumble.
And what Wheeler.
Yeah. And, you know, we've seen Wheeler the last several games really step up his effort. Jake Laptad, who was injured last week against Nebraska, and Wheeler, and that I don't think they're going to review it. I don't think they have to. That was a fumble.
So Kansas got the ball one time at the 49. Now they got it at the 46. And Reesing delivers his pass. Did he catch it? Yes, sir. And that is Beery, the tight end, sophomore out of Omaha, played at West Side High School.
Beery did a really nice job of not giving up on that play. And Reesing, if you haven't seen this young man play, this is the Reesing of old. Last week against Nebraska, we saw it. We're seeing it right now against Texas. He is so dangerous when he's healthy. He had that groin injury, didn't tell anybody about it until it was healed, but that really hurt him, especially when he was trying to escape from the pocket. Not hurt now.
Racing out in the near flat and a little too tall. Meyer did everything he could to come down with the football, but Shockey Brown was right there to make the tackle had he made the catch. As we look at Todd Racing's, well, it's his father standing right there. Mom just sat down. Sorry, we'll get a shot with both of them. Not trying to.
She doesn't want to watch. She was the mom with the head in the hands. I've seen that before.
Yeah, there she is.
But I think maybe move the pocket here. Reesing having a hard time standing in the pocket with his accuracy.
You know, Ed, we've had no catches by Desmond Briscoe yet tonight. Texas guarding him closely. And now a timeout has been called. That's timeout number 2 here in the first quarter. We'll take a break. 7-0 Longhorns, and the Jayhawks threatening. So you're looking at Todd Racing and his teammates. You know, regardless of the losing streak, I'm like his head coach. You look at his accomplishments in high school, the Texas 4A Player of the Year as a junior, Central Texas Player of the Year as a senior. He owns 24 career quarterback records. Not only to end the streak, but to come back home and get to play this game is just absolutely huge for him. Third down, quarterback draw, gets it outside. He will have the first down and steps out of bounds just inside the 35. Blake Gideon forced him out.
And a great call that time. Of course, Mom probably doesn't like him running the ball too much, wants him to throw it. But nice call that time by Ed Warner and Mark Mangino. They were in that area where they would have gone for it on fourth, I think, at 4th and 2 or 3. So you run the quarterback draw. If you pick up 3 or 4 yards, now you've got a shorter 4th down. Nice call.
1st and 10. And they set up shop at the Texas 35-yard line. Longhorns lead it 7-0. 1:04 to play, opening quarter. Out in the flat, has it complete, and Sharp tries to hurdle the tackler, and Curtis Brown was right there to make the hit.
He got up a little slow.
He's had so many injuries.
I know. And
I have a feeling that the sideline is saying, hey, come on,
well,
we need you.
Because Oporem is out.
Yeah,
they absolutely do need him. So I think that was a coach saying, don't get yourself hurt. He strained a calf earlier in the year, missed a couple of ball games. So I don't blame the coach for saying, don't try to be Superman. You need to play this whole game now.
2nd down, 10 to pick up the first. Texas shows blitz. They stay at home. Pressure, backside. 3rd time he has been sacked in the opening quarter, and it is senior Lamar Houston.
Well, lined up inside, and that's Acho on the outside of him. Just gets a great jump, and that's a tackle and stunt. And because the last tackle, Hawkinson, fell down, they couldn't make the switch.
That is the end of the opening quarter. 7-0 Longhorns. We'll be right back.
Well, and you're in a situation because of the sack, 3rd and a mile. The 30-yard line has got to be your goal, because that's about Jacob Brandstetter, their kicker's range. So, Kerry Meyer maybe on a drag across the middle, see if he can outrun a linebacker who's walking over there now, Keenan Robinson.
3 wide receivers to the left. As you can see at the top of your screen when we go wide, there they are. And the line to make, they're going to take it to the Texas 25-yard line. They scrimmage from the 43. Pressure up the middle. Ball is caught by Briscoe. Breaks a tackle. It's his first catch of the night. And that's the reason Ed talked about him so strongly off the top of the telecast, because he is next level competitor.
And it did not play at all on the first drive. Was standing on the sideline ready to go. Not sure why, but that was a nice job. And here goes Kansas very quickly.
Texas having to rush to get a defensive lineman in the ballgame. Here they come. Option, short side of the field. Oh, my goodness. Reesing took a heck of a hit right there from about 3 different Longhorns. Keenan Robinson was the first man to get there and make contact. And let's take a look at the Pacific Light game summary.
Well, not much to show for it for Kansas, but they've held on to the ball. 109 yards for Texas. Of course, a lot of that came on that Kirkendall touchdown. But here you are, 2nd and goal. I don't know that I don't think you want to run it anymore. I think these are all throwdowns now.
Meyer in motion. On 2nd. Throws it over the middle. That's Meyer. Can't hold on. Curtis Brown had the cover.
I just have not seen Todd Reesing in a pocket pass throw a real accurate one here tonight. That's a touchdown if he puts it up a little bit. And so I think that Ed Warner, the offensive coordinator, and Mark Mangino have got to just continue to move him around, because for whatever reason, he just doesn't look real comfortable in the pocket. Of course, 3 sacks will do that to you sometimes.
It's hard to say. 3 in the first quarter. Third down. Reesing, here comes pressure. Over the middle, back of the end zone. Incomplete. Meyer caught it, but he came down out of bounds. And the official straddling the boundary, the backside of the end zone, and he immediately said no catch.
Well, this is a nice job by Reesing, looking people off, moving around. He delivers the ball, and this is the absolute perfect look.
Yep,
and the right call.
Yep, exactly. Hey, that's a great job, guys.
So close.
This crew is so all over it every time we have a ball game. And that right there, if they had replayed it, it wouldn't take them 10 seconds to see he was out of bounds. Field goal attempt coming up. Going to be from 27 yards. Brandstetter.
And is Mark Mangino asking to review this?
Reset the play clock to 25 seconds.
Well, they were going to get a penalty for delay of game, and
that's the reason I knew it wasn't cold here, and I thought he was hugging himself there for a second.
He's got his Letterman's jacket on, but it is not cold,
okay.
That's for sure.
All right, here we go now. Brandstetter to attempt the field goal as Reesing looks on. Got to kick away, and it is good. So with 13:49 left until halftime, and who scored? Texas 7, Kansas 3. By the way, Missouri scored 38 points on a Nebraska team that had allowed only 7 in the previous 3 games combined. And a reminder that you can see number 8, play number 8 revealed Friday at noon Eastern time. Well, it just goes to show, had they had replay then, that was a very much kicked football, and that play would have been disallowed.
Do not let the rules get in the way of a great play, Ron. Such a stickler.
Oh, my. Brandstetter prepares to kick it off for KU. They are finally on the board, and it's 7-3 at the 13:49 mark. From the 7, it's Shipley. Shipley loses the ball, fights for his own recovery.
Well, and Shipley took over return duties for DJ Monroe, who is suspended pending the investigation of a alleged DWI. So, you know, new duty for Shipley, although he did it all last year.
And let's check in New York. Matt Weiner, what do you... Okay, Matt, big one as far as the Big 12 is concerned. As you said, as McCoy keeps the ball, and Colt may not have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. Joe Laptad, who was injured in that game last week, is credited with the tackle, and it's going to be a loss of 1.
You know, looking at that Laptad, he had that injury last week, shoulder, arm. Of course, Kansas does not tell you, but you see that sling on his right arm? That tells you it was a shoulder. That sling there holds the shoulder in place so you can't raise it up too high and it won't slip back out.
Trey Newton in the ball game at tailback. They fake it to him. McCoy throws complete near sideline, and that's Williams, Malcolm Williams, the big target out of Garland, Texas.
You know, we looked at that great play, Nebraska, Missouri, and what's interesting, we were talking to Colt McCoy yesterday about the play of the year so far for Texas, and it's probably that tackle on Brian Jackson. Receiver went over the top on a slant. He had to go make that tackle, and of course,
well, this pass thrown complete right there, and again, it's Malcolm Williams who they're trying to work into the offense. And, you know, if Texas does get an opportunity to go as far as win the Big 12 and go to the national championship, that play right there definitely was key. Newton fights his way. He's going to have the first down as Drew Dudley, the middle linebacker, converges there to make the stop.
Well, and the thing that, you know, remember in that game, if Brian Jackson takes that to distance, maybe Colt comes back and leads them down the field and they win, but the way the defenses were playing in that game, Of course, Landry Jones then throws an interception to Earl Thomas, and then Texas runs out the clock. But if he doesn't make that tackle, they may not win that.
Well, the interesting thing is that was the freshman, Marquise Goodwin, and he ran the pattern wrong. He ran the pattern correctly earlier, ran it underneath the defensive back, scored a touchdown. This time he thought he would go behind, and it almost cost Texas a touchdown. Here's McCoy, and he goes sliding down at the 37-yard line.
And a little surprised that there was no flag for Darryl Stuckey. Lowered his head a little bit as McCoy was sliding, and here they go, going fast again.
Yep. Quick tempo. Little play action. Bootleg. Throwing. Wide open Shipley. 20, 15, 10-5. Touchdown. The roommates have done it again. 38 yards. Shipley out of Burnett, Texas. And Colt McCoy out of Tuscola. Played at Gymnett High School. Extra point attempt to come. And when we show you the replay, you're going to see Malcolm Williams flatten the KU player, and that paved the way for the touchdown as the extra point is good by Lawrence.
Well, every play, when you see someone finish it, this is just a little bit of bootleg. I think Texas has caught Kansas completely off guard with a little bit of hurry up. But watch down here. What an excellent block by Malcolm Williams, working one-on-one by Chris Harris. That's what finished it. Looked like it was going to go out at the 5 instead of touchdown.
Oh, it's a great look from Mount Bunnell, which is along the Colorado River. It is called Lake Austin. At that portion of the river, the Frost Bank building sticking out with a great beacon right there in downtown Austin on a night that actually was supposed to have been clear and has been kind of foggy and kind of damp, kind of cool. Fans are enjoying what they're seeing, though. 14-3 on the senior night with 11 minutes and 34 seconds left until halftime. And of course, for these youngsters from Lawrence, KU wants to prove a point tonight. They'd like to talk more about football than what's happening with their head coach. Darryl Stuckey, number 25, waits for the kick. He is the deep man, and he's standing at the goal line. See, in the Austin allergies are getting to the head coach. I saw that was a sneeze just now. That was not a message. Stuckey spins, gets outside, breaks another tackle.
Well, let's go back to that touchdown. Watch the speed of Shipley as he comes across, and then this guy, Williams, down the field. But Shipley is just so fast when he comes out of his break. Let's not forget that Lubbock Smith, the starting safety, was injured. And so that was Strozier who comes in, not able to keep up with them. But again, hats off to Malcolm Williams, a young man who struggled with some drops earlier in the year. But the one thing he never stopped doing was blocking downfield. 6'3", 220-pound guy, sophomore, has big upside for the Longhorns.
Racine's pass caught by Meyer, and a gamble there by Curtis Brown. Curtis trying to make the pickoff, trying to make interception number 20 on the year for the Longhorns, and Meyer beat him.
Well, they're in a battle to see who's going to finish #1 in the country with Ohio State. Ohio State now with 23, Texas with 19, and of course Ohio State is done until the Rose Bowl. So I would suspect that Texas may catch them with tonight, Texas A&M, and perhaps the Big 12 championship.
Racine steps up, ball delivered, and Thomas makes the tackle on Meyer, and he was trying to take the football away from him while he was still standing up. The head coach to be, but the defensive coordinator for the Longhorns, Will Muschamp, just said it is only one way to describe this young man. He is a throwback, just a throwback, and that's the way he wants to play the game. Good look at Will, who gets more than a little bit involved down on the sideline.
Yeah, keep clipboards away from him. We will break them.
On first down. Ball thrown complete. Briscoe steps out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Well, now it's time for our Aflac trivia question. Who invented the hook 'em horns hand sign? That's our Aflac trivia question, and when we come back in just a while, we'll let you know who that was.
Good battle right now between Kerry Meyer and Earl Thomas. End up right here.
Clock about to go under 10 minutes in this first half. Pass out on the flat. Got it there. And tackle is broken. And then McDougal will take it down inside the 35-yard line. It was Gideon who tried to make the stop and missed the tackle. Curtis Brown came over and finished him up.
And now I promise you what Will Muschamp is telling his Longhorns. Watch the play action fake and them going for it. It's third and very short. And they're in that territory. Well, Kansas will certainly go for it on fourth if they don't get it. So watch the play action and watch for Briscoe. He's to the left with solo coverage.
Third down at just inches. Racing hands it off to Sharp right up the middle. He got it, but just barely. So they will move the sticks at the 9:32 mark. And the tackle was made by Emmanuel Acho, sophomore out of Dallas St. Mark's High School.
And Kansas has to feel pretty good about themselves right now. I think losing Opurum on that first drive is a big deal. Sharp really the only guy left on the depth chart with any experience. Rel Lewis is listed as third, but they've been able to move the ball these last two drives.
I think you can look for Texas to turn up the heat a little bit with blitzes. This time they bring 4, and the pass is caught, and the tackle made at the 25-yard line. It's McElroy who made the stop on Jonathan Wilson.
And no pressure that time. This offensive line that played so well last week against Nebraska. But Nebraska, not really a pressure defense. Of course, with Ndamukong Suh and Jared Crick in the middle, they don't really have to blitz too much. But seen a little different look tonight with movement and some 3 down. And I think you're right. I think now you're inside the 30. You might start to see some heat from Texas.
There's a look at Jeremiah Hatch, the sophomore center who played his high school ball at Carter High School in Dallas. Racing, here comes the pressure. Ball is thrown complete. Tackle broken by Briscoe, and Briscoe's inside the 10 and finally tattooed at the 5 by Blake Gideon.
And there you see that next level skill. Briscoe, a junior, needs to work a little bit on his consistency of effort and intensity, but has all the skills. And this is the second time on this drive that we've seen Curtis Brown. He tried to play the ball earlier, that time just a bad angle.
First and goal, Kansas. The ball resting just outside the 5-yard line. Racing, fade route. And Briscoe was the man he was looking for, but it was not close. Curtis Brown with the cover. Curtis is 6'1". Desmond Briscoe is 6'3", so not a great difference. Many times cornerbacks are 5'8", 5'9", and 5'10", and then there is a great difference when you got a 6'3" receiver.
And I would think that this is where you'd want Reesing out of the pocket a little bit. Try the fade. It's a one-step, throw it up there. But you've got Meyer and Briscoe over to his right. Maybe roll him that way and have those guys run a little bit of a crisscross.
9th play of the drive coming up. It started back at the 42-yard line. Here comes pressure inside. Reesing steps up and is going to be hit and knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Keenan Robinson will be credited with the tackle. Number 1, a sophomore out of Plano East, the same high school that Opurum is from.
No, that was just a really nice move by Keaston Randall, the defensive tackle, working one-on-one against Jeff Spikes. Just goes right by Spikes against Reesing. Now you've got 3rd and goal from the 9. Again, well, they're not sure what they want to do here. Here comes Bradley McDougal in late to make trips to the right.
3rd down and goal, Kansas. And he just called their final timeout of the first half. Let's take a break. 7:07 left until intermission. We'll be right back. And And welcome back to Austin, Texas. 14-3 our score, and it is a third down situation for KU, and they have the ball at the 9-yard line. What do you do?
Second time they've been down in here. Reesing has not looked great in the pocket. I think they need to move him out. He's shown that when he gets in space, he can make a move and get downfield. So I would want to see him roll to the right, and you have Kerry Meyer over there to his right for him to look at.
Here comes the play. Crowd on their feet. Looking, far corner, ball overthrown. Again, it was Briscoe, and they tried to pick on Curtis Brown, and no good.
Yeah, I don't like that call. It's a one-shot deal. You're throwing the fade, and that's the second time they're throwing the fade. I wonder if Mangino's saying, look, you locked in on that side, because they had routes to the other side, and he just locked in right away. You've got Kerry Meyer over there who understands spacing so well. Senior quarterback, I think he needs to come back over to the right there.
This is going to be a 26-yard attempt by Brandstetter. Kerry Meyer, the holder. And he got it. So with 6 minutes and 59 seconds left until halftime, our new score is Texas 14 and Kansas 6.
But field goals are not going to beat the #3 team in the country. You need to, when you're down inside the 10, you need to come away with 7s if you want to try to win this.
And with a bounce-back win last weekend in Phoenix, Jimmy Johnson now looks to drive into the record books by winning his 4th straight NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. The chase concludes with a Ford 400, and that, of course, is at Homestead. That is down in Miami, Florida. Coverage begins Sunday, 2:30 Eastern on ABC with NASCAR Countdown. The guy's been incredible.
Now the question becomes for Kansas, can you slow down Colt McCoy, who seemed to get into a little bit of a rhythm? Not a very good start. Remember, mid-season, a lot of changes for Mark Mangino. And this defense, of course, Clint Bowen is defensive coordinator. But with Lubbock Smith now out, you're missing that safety. Don't be surprised if Bevo sees a couple of more long throws by McCoy.
Here comes Brandstetter to kick it off. You're looking into the eyes of the freshman, Marquise Goodwin, the freshman out of Garland, Texas. It's an onside kick, and it has not gone far enough.
Well, this is the dribble kick, and I think it's a great aggressive call by Coach Mangino. Difficult week for him. Why not pull out all the stops and go for it? But Brandstetter it was just a bad execution. You've got to get this ball to go 10 yards. You're trying to get your kicker to recover it, and he just muffs it.
Well, for a basketball school, that is a double dribble rather than just a dribble kick.
Yeah.
And boy, do they ever give up some valuable field position. It is first down Longhorns at the KU 36-yard line. Trey Newton comes back in at tailback. But they hand it off to Goodwin on the reverse, and he is going to be caught by the shoulder pad and slung down by Justin Thornton. So it is time now for the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Who invented, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, Mr. Duck. Who invented the hook'em horns hand signal? The answer to that, 1955, head cheerleader Harley Clark. Back to play. Pass thrown complete at the 28-yard line. That's to Malcolm Williams. So Texas continues to chip away, but by doing that, they also, with that almost loss on first down, they are playing a little bit more behind the sticks than I would imagine Mac Brown would like to see.
You know, going back to Mark Mangino's decision to try that onside, I really don't mind it at all. Just it was bad execution by Brandstetter, but you're in here, you're a huge underdog, 4-touchdown underdog. Why not go for it? And just bad execution.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. McCoy, far sideline, and no flag is down, and the fans over there wanted, that's not pass interference. I thought it was defensive holding. Malcolm Williams being held up by Chris Harris.
And this was a buzz throw by Colt McCoy. Now, that's hand fighting both ways. I think that's a good non-call. Malcolm Williams needs to, as he gets more experience, stop doing that. Continue your run. You know your quarterback's not putting air under it, so you have to get down the field. I like that there was no call.
It's going to be a 49-yard attempt by Hunter Lawrence. His longest is 44 this year. Good pass, plenty of distance on the kick, and he's got it. Take a timeout. 5:45 on the clock. Texas 17-6. Trailing Nebraska 10-3 at halftime, and of course the winner of that goes to the Big 12 championship as the North champion. Shocking that Texas Tech, not that they won over Oklahoma, they were at home, but 549 yards total offense, 41-13, a huge win over OU. And Denario Alexander, Missouri, last 3 games, almost 600 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns.
And Sooner fans will not like to hear this. And Hunter Lawrence with a career high 49-yard field goal. But Oklahoma fans won't want to hear this, but a lot of people in this part of the country are going to be rooting for Oklahoma State in Bedlam because if Oklahoma State wins, may get an at-large bid to the BCS.
This is Stuckey from the goal line. And Stuckey will be wrapped up just short of the 20-yard line. Well, television's hottest new hit is ABC's Kansas back on offense, this time trailing by 11. This is the worst starting position that KU has had tonight. And they go with the running play. This is Sharp, and Jake will take it for a gain of about 3.
Give credit to Kansas defensively after the attempted onside kick, holding Texas to a field goal attempt. So not really a bad deal. You get that bad a field position, you have to assume the way Colt McCoy's been playing the last 5 or 6 ball games, they're going to come away with 7, but able to hold them to 3.
Pressure on Racing, the ball incomplete, and a hit on Meyer, and boy, he went down flat of his back, and it was Blake Gideon who took him on.
We just showed you those stats as Kansas goes to 3rd and long. Still no running game yet for the Longhorns. Let's make sure Gideon doesn't drop his headgear here.
He hit him with his forearm.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason the official did not throw his flag. 3rd down, and they got to take it out to the 29-yard line. Blitz coming from the safety. Ball is thrown, almost intercepted at the 37-yard line by guess who? Earl Thomas. I don't know how Earl always winds up in the spot closest to the ball, but he certainly does.
Well, in Racing, he just didn't get his feet right, and I know there was pressure there, but so far tonight, the senior playing his first game in his hometown has not looked particularly sharp. Not getting much help, and of course losing O'Purim hurt, but that was there and should have been converted.
Rojas prepares to get his kick away, and he does. This good coverage kick, very long and very high. Shipley all the way back to the 36-yard line, and he's just going to slide down at the 41. Picked up 5 yards, and he said, okay, that's about what I'm going to get, and he goes down. Dudley defensively. Coming up, the Capital One halftime report with scores and highlights from around the country.
Well, and this is where Texas really needs a running game. You'd love to eat some clock here. Kansas without any timeouts. You're up 17-6, but not been able to get it. You got a little game going, running game going last week against Baylor, but Baylor not a great rush defense. And this is where you'd love to see if Cody Johnson could pick up some tough yards for you.
A little play action. They give it up. That's Trey Newton. Has 10, has 20, and is pushed out of bounds inside the 40-yard line by Chris Harris. So it's as good as a running play. It's like a pitch play, whatever you want to call it.
And Trey Newton, you can see the misdirection. This is something new that Texas is doing this year, and they're marking this back a little further than we thought. Yep, he stepped out right there. Yep. But you can see the explosive ability of Newton, a nice outside complement to Cody Johnson at 240 pounds.
McCoy, great protection, delivers it, has it complete, and Kirkendall tries to take it back on up the sideline or down the sideline, and he had stepped out of bounds.
And one point to make about the running game. I know everybody wants it. Here goes Texas fast.
Right back, and they hand it off. Running play, and it's Trey Newton hammering his way. Right side, second effort, comes out of the back of the pile, and he's going to wind up with a gain of very close to 7 yards. Justin Thornton stopped him, and quickly KU getting 3 new defensive linemen on the field.
And I like this by Texas. This hurry up has looked really good for them in the first half.
Play action. This time he reverses out and throws it. Kirkendall again. And Kirkendall will make it to around the 26-yard line. Anthony Davis, the man who made the stop. Anthony started the season as the #1 guy at that cornerback spot for KU. Then lost his job, and then some other people did not play so well, so they brought him back, and he's been playing satisfactorily. Newton, right side, stumbles forward, but I think he's going to have the first down as Jamal Green got a hand on him.
Getting a little bit of the running game going with Newton. He comes off, and Cody Johnson comes in. But the point I was going to make about not getting the running game going, when your quarterback's completing over 70% of his passes, and tonight McCoy is 15 for 18, it's not that big of a deal because you're still burning clock. You're not putting balls on the ground, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
Here's McCoy. Throws the ball, almost caught with a leaping try. Jordan Shipley down inside the 10-yard line.
And now they're trading Cody Johnson off for John Childs. Now you're into a throwing situation, 2nd and long. No running back in the game, so they'll be empty.
Colt is 15 of 19, 209 yards and 2 touchdowns. 1 to Shipley, 1 to Kirkendall. Well, back to the right side. That's Childs. Turns it up. 20, 15. Down inside the 10-yard line. 1st and goal. Texas Longhorns. Joe Laptad makes the stop after a 14-yard gain.
Excellent job by the right guard, Michael Huey. It looked like the defense was right there, but watch Huey as he gets out on this wide receiver screen. Got bumped a little bit, but he gets out there and blocks Holden Tharp, who was going to make that tackle. And Childs, you see his explosive ability and why they've moved him to wide receiver permanently.
On 1st down, right up the middle, quarterback draw. McCoy inside the 5, down to the 3. Quentin Woods defensively. He's a sophomore out of Sedgwick, Kansas.
And here goes Texas really fast. You know, this is something I think they really want on film for later in the season.
Cody Johnson, right side, puts a head down, still fighting. He'll take it to the 1. In fact, he hasn't given up yet. Well, I'm saying he's going to take it to the 1. He's to the 1-foot line. Cody is a young man that came in, and it happens. You talk to youngsters, and you ask them to report for training camp at a certain weight. They wanted Cody at 240 pounds, and he came in about 30 cheeseburgers over that at about 260 pounds.
He looked more like a guard than a running back when he came back to camp.
Lamar Houston is in the ballgame. Now, Lamar is a defensive tackle. He is the blocking back here, but he also used to play tailback in high school. Would they throw to him? Nope. Running play. Straight ahead. Touchdown, Johnson. So Cody Johnson scores another touchdown. He has been the red zone short yardage man for the Longhorns all year long. Got his weight down, made him more mobile, and the kick by Lawrence is up and it's good. So you see McCoy and of course Shipley. There's Jackson and Case McCoy. Case a quarterback. Jackson is a wide receiver like his brother. And here's a high school game. It is Shipley had in that ball game. Here he comes. making this catch. He had over 220 yards receiving, and it was the two fathers playing against each other. And that night after the ball game was over, the Shipley family took off to go see the ball game up in Missouri, and the two kids went home together, although they're from different high school. It is, this family has been really tight for a long time with it. I hear the two fathers, Brad McCoy on the left and Bob Shipley on the right. And this time it was Abilene Christian College. It's now Abilene Christian University. But as we said earlier, they were roommates, and now their sons are roommates.
Looked like Shipley was getting worked on there for a little turf burn, maybe on his right elbow.
Stuckey on a kick return. Flag comes down.
As we wait for that flag, that drive there by Texas, I think shows the diversity that this offense has started to develop late in the season. They were able to go hurry up and mix in.
There's no foul for illegal block in the back. Side block, first down.
So Tom Walker, I don't know why the people are booing. I think that's great. You know, regardless of which team, but the officials came together and said, you know, hey, we determined that this is what it was. It was not. See, and
it's the head in front. That's what they see.
Yeah.
As long as your head goes in front, they're not going to call that. That's the correct changeover. But that offensive drive, I think, when teams down the road, Texas A&M, if they get to the championship against Nebraska or Kansas State, and then beyond that, wherever they end up, are going to look at that and say, wow, that's tough to defend. That's a lot of offense.
Sharp and Jake is going to be dropped for about a 3-yard loss. Aaron Williams, sophomore out of Round Rock, came in to make the stop. And Texas has called a timeout with 1:08 showing on the clock.
And I really like the use of that timeout. 1:08, you push them back on first down. Why not try to get the ball back? And they're a very good punt blocking team, too. Don't forget that.
Let's go to Matt Weiner in New York, Robert.
And this game, if you ask Matt Brown, has no implications. He doesn't want to talk about the Big 12 South. He doesn't want to talk about anything but Kansas, and I think has done a nice job of getting his team focused and ready for this evening's game.
Second down, and let's call it 13. Sharp runs and is going to be hit by Kendall, and Sergio will knock him down for about a 1-yard loss. Keyston Randall also was there to help out. Now the problem that KU gets into, they have had decent field position as Texas calls another timeout. They've had it one time at the 49, the other time across midfield at the 46. But with this deep in their own territory, Muschamp is turning up the heat a little bit, and he wants them to have to kick the ball and give the opportunity back to the Texas offense.
And I think a wonderful job by Texas of using these timeouts to try to get that punt unit out there and see if they can't get a block.
Well, the Big 12 today, you see the scores. Tech winning big over Oklahoma. The Tech started off down in that ball game, but they were home, and senior day for their players. Baylor falls to Texas A&M as the Aggies really have been Jekyll and Hyde, but they bounce back big today. Oklahoma State over Colorado. Missouri defeated Iowa State, and 17-3 now Nebraska over Kansas State. Third down. They got to take it all the way out to the 32-yard line.
I think you want to run it. I think you want to milk a little more clock here.
That's what they're going to do. Into the boundary. The ball pitched back and ran out of bounds as Curtis Brown was over there. And Jake,
that was a mistake.
You're a senior. You got to go down and make Texas burn another timeout.
Yeah. Under 2 minutes left in the half of the game. The clock stops when a player goes out of bounds. So now Texas gets the ball back in that 50-second range with a timeout, with a senior quarterback who's only started 50 games in his career, so he kind of knows what to do in these situations.
Well, let's see if Texas comes after the block. They got a piece of one earlier. Alonzo Rojas gets his kick away, and they got the return on. Good kick. And a fair catch signal for by Shipley at the 39. Matt Weiner. Let's see that Nebraska who has been the difference in that Nebraska ball club, regardless of what anybody says. That is a very, very fine defense. Offensively, they have been hit and miss, and in a lot of occasions more miss than hit. So
him being healthy is a big deal down the stretch for them.
He is the difference maker. McCoy runs up into the pocket, gets it off last minute, and Shipley got to be caught from behind by Stuckey. Little ad lib there. Now Texas is going to have to hurry.
Yep, they need to go really fast here. They still have that timeout, but taking a little too long. Maybe should have taken that one there.
Well, had a lot of folks downfield. McCoy steps up, now delivers the ball, has it complete, and that is Buckner. Dan Buckner, the sophomore out of Allen, Texas. Can play flex tight end, can play wide receiver. And they're excited about him because Greg Davis said he thinks he can put on 20 more pounds and get up to about 235 and be their tight end next year.
Nice job by McCoy. He was going to tuck it, and he probably would have got tackled short of the first down and had to use that timeout, but found Buckner late.
McCoy gets away. 40, 35, slides down. Clock runs. No, it is stopped because of the moving of the chain. It was Dudley who missed him. And he is there and throws the ball into the ground to stop the clock with 12 ticks.
And a late flag coming from the back judge. Wonderfully managed so far this drive by Colt McCoy. Not a shock.
Prior to the snap, dead ball, illegal substitution, defense.
Wow.
5-yard penalty, still first down.
Okay. You know, it may not seem like much, but folks, think about this. With the ball now at the 30-yard line, even if Texas misses on this pass and maybe a second one, I don't know that they'd go for two. This is still a 46-yard field goal. He just hit one from what, 49?
Yeah, and I think what you want to try to do here is try to get the ball down around the 20-yard line where you have time. And McCoy very upset that they didn't get the play in and had to use a timeout. But get it down to around the 20 with about 8 seconds. You might get one, maybe two throws into the end zone before you have to bring Hunter Lawrence in to attempt a field goal.
Well, keep an eye at the bottom of the screen. Out to the left is number 9, Malcolm Williams. Malcolm is 6'3", and last year against Texas Tech had 162 yards in that ball game and 2 long touchdowns. But he also was a guy that you can run a fade route with because of his size.
Well, I thought they had taken the timeout. I mistakenly said they had, and now they do, and that was Williams who called the timeout. And I think the coaches are saying that's not, you can't call that. If you're confused, ask somebody. But now there's a discussion.
Tom Walker, the referee, comes over. And now they have put, it was 9 seconds, they've now put it back to 12 seconds. And I think that's what Mac Brown was asking
the first
about.
Last charge timeout for Texas.
And you see Mr. Walker, the man who runs the show. 7 people on every one of these crews. And, of course, a lot of people call them the referees. Well, actually, there's only one. And Mr. Walker is that. Oporum limping toward the locker room. And I'm afraid the freshman running back out of Plano East, his evening is over. You can tell that he is really in pain as he tries to move along that right ankle. Hunter Lawrence is going to come onto the field now, and with no timeouts left, Mac Brown is not going to take any chances. He'd like to make it a 21-point ball game.
I'd like to see, I mean, this is a long field goal. I'd like to see, you've got plenty of time for more plays. I'd like to see one throw towards the end zone for a Shipley or something before you tried this, but guess not. I could tell you Colt McCoy.
Tom Walker is talking, and we don't have his mic on there. He was explaining about the 12 seconds going back on the clock. I couldn't hear the whole message.
And now having to go over to explain to Coach Mangino what's going on. But with 12 seconds, you have time for, you know what, here's the thinking, and it might be right. Mac Brown afraid of a sack. You know, you get a sack without the timeout, so rethinking this, Mac, I think, may be on point here with this. If you did something, you'd have to do a 3-step fade because you just couldn't give up a sack. So I do understand the logic behind this.
So Hunter Lawrence had a 49-yarder a moment ago. This one is going to be from 47 yards. Good pass. Got plenty of distance and got plenty of accuracy. Boy, that thing might have gone from 60. So he nails it. 7 seconds showing on the stadium clock. And Texas now with their largest lead of the night, 21. Well, this week in college football, as you see, Luke anxious to see. I want to get a final score, an SMU score today, because they are in a position to not only be bowl eligible, they're in a position to play for the Conference USA Championship. And we would do that game 2 weeks from today. I think it'd be fun.
Year 2 for June Jones down in Dallas. That's an amazing job by Coach Jones and his staff.
Kick on the ground, going to be taken by the up back at the 30-yard line and out over the 40 to around the 42, and that's Justin Springer. And with that, the two teams head to the locker room. It is halftime here in Austin. And before we go to the locker room, Shelley Smith down on the field, and she will get Mac Brown here just momentarily, and we will hear from the Longhorn head coach. And let's go down to Shelley.
Mac, they moved the ball a little bit on you early. How did you guys tighten that up?
I just thought we probably settled down and played better, Shelley. It's very emotional for senior day, and you've got to give Todd Reesing credit. He's from Austin. He's coming back next to his last game. They've got two great receivers in Meyer and Briscoe, and I thought they had a great game plan to come in, just hit us with little things, and we turned the ball over.
Offensively, everything seems to be working well. How will you mix it up in the second half?
We'll just continue to let Colt play. He's hot. He's doing a great job. They're bunching the line of scrimmage. I've told Greg Davis I'm not worried about how many yards we get rushing. I'm worried about points.
Great. Thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Okay, Shelley, thanks so much. Our score at halftime, 27-6 Texas. Now let's go to New York. John Saunders. It is your